Hello, again. So today I like to talk to you about you and your mind. Okay, so they two different things or they just one thing. Okay, you and your mind, because that is the major thing that is being taught in Buddhism. Okay, so is your mind you, or is it separate, or is it just one? Okay, so let's discuss about this a little bit from the way I understand it. You and your mind, who am I? Another word. That's another way to approach it. Um, if we think back to the day that we take up life uh, in a mother's womb, okay, um, when life start at the inception, right? Life started in a womb. Okay, so at that point, life um, starting. Okay, and that is what I'm gonna call as us, as you. Okay, so at that time, life is there. Life is already there, and at that point, that life that is taking up, in the womb does not have any memory, any experience of this material world yet. So, another word, that was you, okay, but you, in the sense that has nothing to do with the mind, okay, with the physical mind that we are having right now. So, just from that very simple, look, we can tell that we can pretty much say that life is life. Life is there, okay, and that life has no mind. I mean, mind. Well, let me take it back a little bit. At that level, there's a different kind of mind, okay, but it's not the mind that we in English word that we're using right now in the world. Our mind, which we refer to what we think. That's what we call mind in the English language. But the mind at that time is a different kind of mind. In Buddhism, the Buddha broke it down into many levels of mind, not just one. Okay, there are many levels according to how you want to break it down. So the point that you just when life started, that mind is different. Okay, that mind come from previous life, from previous being, right, that you call, oh, from my previous life. Okay, so that mind in the Pali language is called Bhavanga Citta. Citta, spelled Bhavang, Bhavang, and Citta, Citta. Bhavanga Citta is a is the most subtle level of mind, and that mind does not have anything to do with what we call our mind right now, that we have, the way that we use here. That mind, the Bhavanga Citta, what it has, it carries a karmic memory. Okay, so the karmic memory that Bhavanga Citta carry, it when we take birth, when life, when that citta, when the Bhavanga Citta take up birth in a new life, in a new womb, sorry, in a new womb, um, the Bhavanga Citta carry this karmic energy, the karmic life from previous life. So within that Bhavanga Citta, there's memory. Okay, that memory is what we call a karmic memory, and that memory dictates pretty much or you can say it's a predestined memory that dictates our life here in a way, okay, that it's predetermined the age that we're gonna be living, or we're gonna be serving that karmic energy, the karmic result from previous action, that we're gonna serve that karmic energy, that karmic result in this life. So that Bhavanga Chitta has that built in. It's sort of like a DNA of the Chitta, of the mind. Okay, but it's not a physical DNA, but this is a memory DNA in a way. So that Chitta, when it takes up, so Bhavanga Chitta carry this karmic memory. So in other words, you can look at it as a seed. Okay, so that seed is planted into the womb, right? And then the seed grow. So life start new. Life start anew with the new physical form. At that point, in other words, life is always there, because the Bhavanga Chitta continue from one section to another, and it keeps continuing like that. So as Bhavanga Chitta take up new life in this new form, it comes from the previous life. So Bhavanga Chitta keep going like this. It's just like a movie frame, one frame, and it takes up, and it keeps going like Bhavanga Chitta. Okay, and it carries a karmic memory. So when the previous body or the previous being passed away, the Bhavanga Chitta carry the karmic memory into this new life, into the new womb, and take up new life. Okay, so whatever the karmic memory that the Bhavanga Chitta carry at the very last conscious, when the last being, when the previous life, before that previous life passed away, it hold on to, because it had clinging, desire, clinging to for life. Whatever it cling to, it to that particular moment when the body passed away, or at that point, the Bhavanga Chitta remember that the result of that karmic activity. So that carries on, and it takes up birth in this new life with that karmic memory, and it takes up life here. So life, so that another word also, because of that, the Bhavanga Chitta does not have the memory, the physical memory that we have. It only has karmic memory. That's why we cannot remember previous life, or whoever or whatever being that was in the previous life, because everything is gone with the physical stuff. So this life, this new life we take up, it's not a life. Okay, so that life continue, and it grow. So the seed grow in the womb. At that point, life just keep going like that, from previous life to this life, and life just continue. That is actually who we all are. It's just energy like that, and just keep flowing and serving our own karmic activity that we have done. Okay, so that's why this thing here keeps us, when we create more, when we have more karma, when we create more karma, then it continue, and it pass on to the next one, and it's being carried by this Bhavanga Chitta from one physical life to another. But from at the break point, of a physical life, the physical memory is gone. Okay, so we cannot remember, except for the Buddha, who can trace back. But that is, you forget about us. We can't do that. Okay, so So another word, life is like that. Life continue from one physical life to the next. So that's who we really are. At that point, when we take birth in the womb, we have no mind yet. Okay, we have nothing, no discrimination mind or anything. We only had that, we were the pure energy. Okay, that is taking up new form of life. So as we grow, so the fetus start to develop the different organs, right? Based on the seed that being planted from the karmic result. That seed grow, and then we develop the brain and everything else, the body and everything here. So when the brain grows, and when the baby start to learn, start to recognize, okay, start to learn how to smile, and things like that. That's when we start this new life. This is when the new I start. Okay, we receive the information through the baby receive the information through the feeling of the body, through the milk, the food that the baby took in, and then after a while the baby can see the smile of the parents, the face, because at first the baby had no clue. When sometimes the baby look at things, the baby doesn't know whether it should want to cry or want to smile or want to be afraid. Don't know how to do. But after a while, after some experience that the baby goes through, then the brain start to develop a sense of understanding, based on previous experience that the brain and the baby start to accumulate, and from that point on we develop. Okay, the brain develop. That's when I start to form. Okay, so when I start to form, after a while you start to, and then when the baby grow up a little bit into a toddler, 2-year-old or something, and then you start to have name, right? When the parent give you a name, John, Steve, or Mary or something, then first the baby identify himself or herself. Oh, John wants this, or Mary wants that. But after a while, I want this. Now the baby start to identify, the toddler start to identify itself as I. You see, so this is a pure product of the brain, okay, of the mental activity. And from that point on, as you can imagine, we continue to accumulate more information. Information coming at every second, every moment that we awake. When we awake, all this, the baby receive all this information in. Okay, the sound, the sight, the taste, the smell, and all of that. And that's how we develop. That's how the brain develop. And now we start to identify ourselves more and more with what the brain is processing. Okay, what we don't know is but before this brain activity takes shape, the real I, the real you, which is life itself, has been always been there. But we were not aware enough, we were not conscious enough to realize that. Okay, when we start to realize ourselves, when the brain start function. Okay, so that's the problem. That's the reason why we don't know who we really are. We identify ourselves with our body, with our mind. Okay, that's so because of that, the mind is all the mind. You have to understand. So as it grows, as it develops, the mind keeps wanting more, and that's a natural phenomenon of the mind. The mind never stays still. The mind always wants to grow. The mind always wants to grab. The mind always wants to have more. The mind never have enough, and the mind can never stay still. Okay, that's the function of the mind, and that is the nature of the mind. Okay, Think of it. Think of it this way. When the baby first come out from the womb, okay, boom. When the baby is inside the womb, he or she is all comfortable, nice and cozy, and nothing is awake yet. The senses not awake yet. Okay. So when the baby come out, boom, the baby cry, right? Boom. Why the baby cry? Why not? Why the baby? Why not smile? Okay. The reason the baby cry is because, first of all, when the baby come out, the first thing, the sense of the body sense, the contact, it it changed from that temperature inside the body, which is around 98 or something degree in there. You come out into the AC room or whatever temperature outside, maybe 80 degree, right? 7 to 70 degree in the AC room or whatnot, temperature change. Now the senses or the body senses is working, started working. Something is not right. It's a natural reaction. When it's a natural reaction of the body that something is not right, it reacts. So when it reacts, what does the baby do? The baby cry because the baby is not comfortable anymore. Okay, if the baby is comfortable, he wouldn't cry. But he's not, or he or she is not comfortable, so he cry. After a while, after the body temperature start to get used to the outside, and then the baby start to calm down, and now the senses of the body getting comfortable with the temperature, with the atmosphere outside, so it stop crying. Okay, so that's the thing. It's this feeling that the senses have that make us feel whether you like it or you don't like it. Okay, so that's the very thing that make human who we are. Okay, make human have all this desire, the craving, the greed that we keep wanting more and more and more. It's because that's a natural way of existence in this nature. This nature give us this to want more. That's why we need to understand, because the mind is going to do that. Okay, but life itself is at another level, but this mind here, it sits on top of life. Okay, because let's say when how is it that determine when we happy, right? When we happy, we smile, we feel comfortable, what is it determine that, okay, when you see something, you look at something, that something is nice or not nice? How do we know that? If you hear something, good music, how do we determine, okay, that's a good song, that's not a good song, good sound, or good taste, or good smell? How do we determine that? Okay, and that's all the process of the five senses. Okay, see, that has nothing to do with life itself. Life itself is just humming along at the bottom level, but the five senses, is running the show. Okay, see, the way the five senses, the way the five senses operate is this. So let's say you look at something, you see something that you like. Okay, if you like, okay, you record it in your memory. Okay, you like that, you like that kind of look, that view, or the scenery or whatnot. Okay, and if something you don't like, you don't want it. Okay, so the like part is what make, because the eye, because it makes it it gives a pleasant feeling to the eye. When you see something nice, it means the vision give the mind a pleasant feeling. The same thing goes with the ear. When you hear something sound smooth, sound nice, it gives a pleasant feeling to the inside. Okay, if you hear something not nice, it doesn't give you the pleasant feeling, of course. So all the five senses operate the same way. When it's pleasant, you're happy. When it's not pleasant, you're not happy. Okay, and that you is your mind that is interpreting those things. Okay, so it's okay to be when you encounter pleasant thing, that is fine. Okay, see, that's one thing that is, that's what we all want. And when we people's happiness based on that, we base on something pleasant, so when we see things pleasant, okay, we like it, we like what we see, we like what we hear, we like what we taste and all that stuff. So the mind keeps wanting more of that, okay, to make itself happy, because that's how the mind works. The mind is like a always working mechanism. It doesn't stay still. Okay, it keeps doing things from one thing, from one thought to another, so during that process the mind is looking for something that is pleasant. Okay, so because of that, let's say he sees something, when something, okay, after you see something very pleasant, but no matter how pleasant it is, after a while, depending on whatever it is, after a while the mind get bored with that pleasantness of that thing. So the mind want to change. Okay, so the mind want to change to something else, for something more pleasant, because otherwise it get bored. That's a problem. The mind gets bored, and the mind cannot stay still. The other thing is the mind, when the mind receives something unpleasant, and the mind don't want that, and that's what causes us suffering. Okay, so that is a thing that if we become conscious, we become aware of this, we have to understand that in this world, life in this world, things doesn't always happen. I mean, you already know the way we want it all the time, right? Because things always happen, pleasant or unpleasant. Nature has no discrimination. Okay, and nature, I'm talking about including other human beings, because we are part of nature. We are not any creature that is outside of nature. We are part of nature. Okay, because of that, what I'm talking about is other things happen from other human being and stuff like that. When they cause pleasantness, you're happy, and when they do something unpleasant, you're not happy. What we don't understand is pleasant and unpleasantness is nature. Nature has all of that. See, unless we can understand that, okay, we're bound to have suffering all the time, because when things that not pleasant happen, we don't like it, and we try to reject it, we try to block it, we try to do whatever to stop it. But what we and because of that, we have suffering, we have stress, we have anxiety, we have pressure. What we don't understand is that is also part of life. When life happens, okay, and then it happens in nature, and this is the nature of nature. Okay, that's how nature is. Nature has no, just like I said, no discrimination. Nature is not here to make us happy or to make us sad. Nature is just like that. Okay, so you have to understand, that's how you need to understand other people. Other people are nature also. If you can understand that, then you have to learn how to interact with nature instead of fighting with nature. When you fight with nature, you have problem. Okay, but if we know how to handle and how to accept nature and stop fighting with nature, then we can live harmoniously with nature, and which means living harmoniously with ourselves and with others. We also part of nature. Okay, life itself is humming along, you know, eternally. But as life take up form, from one form to another, it's just like a bubble. It come up, take up form, and then it disappear. But life continue. The Bhavanga Chitta continue and take up form again because of the karmic activity, karmic result, and it disappear. Okay, and it's like that. And during during formation, when life take up form, this is when, if we understand this, we can understand, okay, this is what life is in this nature. We can live harmoniously with this environment, okay, instead of fighting it, because that's what nature is. Then you know how to live joyfully. You stop fighting with people, you stop fighting with nature, you start to understand instead. So how do you understand others? How do you understand with the different kind of nature? That's what the Buddha keeps saying, keep expounding. To understand others human being, or animal, but first we are human being, interact with human being. Understand yourself, who you are. The Buddha keeps saying that, keeps stressing that. Okay, know who you are. Okay, how does your mind operate? How does it how does its craving and stuff come up? When you understand this, then you will understand your fellow human being. Oh, they operate the same way. Okay, so when you start to understand that, you're not reacting with emotion, with all this crazy hype and all that stuff anymore. You say, okay, now I got it. Okay, I understand how the mind works now. Okay, so instead of reacting to things that's happening, that your five senses bring to you all the time, you're not reacting anymore. You respond, and you act in a way that is appropriate to that situation. There's no more reaction, there's only respond in a calm, peaceful way, because now you live with the flow of energy. You are accepting to what it is, you live with the flow, and you understand life. Okay, once you understand that, you become a very peaceful person. You start to enjoy more life, and you have less stress, you have no more stress. Okay, this is how a good human being is supposed to live. You don't want to have all of this problem, but without understanding that, we keep running into problem. Okay, so today that's what I like to touch on a little bit. Okay, and hopefully you get something out of it, and drop me a line or something if you have any comment. All right, have a good day.